Alright, so this is a video of a translation and discussion of Book 11. We're learning about Camilla and her father Metabus. It is Book 11, lines 544 through 556. So let's go ahead and get started. And so it says, he himself, this is Metabus, her father obviously, who is out in exile taking the little infant, was seeking, let me first deal with the present active participle. He himself, carrying implied little Camilla in his lap in front of himself. I always like to envision it as he's got one of those little baby carriers that you see sometimes fathers and mothers have, to where they can carry the kid on the front of them chests as they are walking around, freeing up their hands and things like that. And so he was seeking the long mountain ridges, the yuga, plural, of the lonely groves. This word nemorum is from nemus, that's an M, nemoris, and so therefore that's your genitive plural ending modified by the first and second declension adjective genitive plural ending. Nevertheless, on all sides, savage weapons, and there's your, of course, offensive weapons as opposed to the defensive weapons of armor. And so, on all sides, the savage weapons was pressing him. These be the, of course, Volsci, who are after him, who have kicked him out of his town and city that he had ruled, which was, of course, Prevernus. And the Volscians were flitting about. Now, the reason why I translated as flitting about is because what we have here is a frequentative. Remember, what you can do is you can take the fourth principal part of a verb, volo, volare, and, or most famous example, take spicio, spicere, speci, spectus, spectus, aum, drop off the us aum, and turn it into a first conjugation verb, specto, spectare, spectavi, spectatus, which means to, if spicio, to spot frequently, to spot continuously, and that then turns into the meaning watch. And so the frequentative in English of the word fly is to flutter or to flit, and so that's why we're going to translate volitabat, or volitabat, as flit. And the Volscians were flitting about with their soldiery, literally a soldier, but it's going to imply the whole bunch of them, having been poured from the fundere fudifusus around him. He is surrounded. Behold, look, the Amasenus River, in the middle of his flight, bursting forth, abundant, it was foaming, spumo spumare, from its highest banks. And we all know that obviously a ripa ripae is where we get the English word riparian. And so it is indeed the highest river banks. So great a rain had burst itself from the clouds. And so, this Amasenus River is experiencing a flash flood, which is no good when you're trying to escape a whole group of people trying to track you down, and you have a little infant baby. Bad news all the way around. You can't just simply cross this river rather easily. So that guy, preparing, present active participle, to swim it, inare, to swim, he is slowed. He is made hesitant by the love of his infant, and he fears, present verb from the second conjugation, timeo, timeore. I tell my students every time you see an E, a long E particularly, T's, E, macrons, in a verb, you got to ask that question. Does this long E appear in a second conjugation verb? Does this long E appear in a third conjugation verb? And more important than the question is the answer. It's second conjugation, timeo, timeore, and so it's going to be present tense. He fears instead of the future tense. He will fear. And he fears for his dear load, as it were. And so, he thinks, I can't just jump in the water and start swimming. Remember, he's got the little baby carrier. If he's swimming, the baby would be underwater and would drown, which would be no good. So, suddenly, scarcely this idea, this opinion, this sentiment sat down for the one where sare means to be involved with, or to think about, or to contemplate. We're going to go with contemplate here. Present active participle. We are substantizing it because it implies Metabus himself. Scarcely this opinion, this idea, sat down for the one contemplating all things with himself. And so these all things, he's going through contingencies. How can I get her across? Can I build her a raft and float her across? Can I build a raft and put her, tie her to my back and float her across? Oh, what can I do? Until finally he's going to come up with this idea. And what is this idea? I'm sorry why I said that, but there was, we are implying an erot with telem imane. So there was a huge spear, which, and so therefore remember, that when we have a relative pronoun, qui, quae, quod, it has to agree with its antecedent in number, singular, therefore quod is singular, and gender, neuter, therefore quod is neuter. And so which, by chance, this is the ablative of the word fortis, which means chance. Nevertheless, he was wearing with his strong hand, he as a velator. In other words, the reason why he has this is that he has many roles in life, as we all have many roles in life, in that I knew that I had made a mistake. I just looked at it, in which it's not fours, but fortis. How embarrassing. But I had known it as soon as I had written it, that I had added an S to the nominative, which it does not have. But the reason why I'm wearing a bow tie is that right now I'm in the role of a teacher. I'm at my school. When I'm at home on the weekend, I don't wear a tie or even a button-up shirt. And so therefore, it's just merely indicating the role that he has here. His role as a dad is going to be that sling that he is wearing that has the little baby in it. And so therefore, again, there was a huge spear, which by chance he was wearing in his strong hand, with his strong hand, he as a warrior. That's why he has it. That spear, solid with knots. Knots make a piece of wood stronger. Try to drill into a piece of wood, more difficult into a knot. Try and cut a piece of wood, more difficult when there's a knot. And with the oak having been cooked, you get as much moisture out of your wooden weapons as possible, because the moisture is going to make the weapon pliable. And so in that way, you would want to obviously cook it out, the moisture, in a kiln or something of that nature, to make it where it would be much more effective. So, to this, referring to that weapon, he intertwines his daughter. She, the one feminine thing, having been born. Originally, this is from merely naskor, naski, and then natus sum. So a natus is a masculine thing having been born, substantize it into a son. Nata, feminine thing having been born, substantize it into daughter. So to this weapon, he intertwines, he ties his daughter, having been enclosed with bark and with woody cork. Me and my class, we like to call that ancient bubble wrap. It's the thing that's going to obviously keep her safe, because he's literally tying her to a spear